morning. My name is Alexi Dunaway, and I'm the Executive Director of Ongoza here in Nairobi, Kenya. Thanks so much for taking the time to chat this morning. So take yourself back to the process you went through to find your first job. Maybe you got an internship through a connection, maybe you saw a help wanted sign and walked in the front door, maybe you applied to an online ad. Now imagine that none of those avenues existed. As an employer, I've seen that entry-level jobs regularly get thousands of applicants. If you were doing it all over again without any of the avenues that you tried, what would you do? If you're in the position of most Kenyans, for whom there's a job for every 1 out of every 10, you would do what they do and turn to business. National Bureau of Statistics estimates that there are 7.3 million micro, small, and medium enterprises in Kenya. That's 1 for every 6 Kenyans. The majority of this economy is informal, unstructured, and stagnant. Half don't make it to their first birthday, and few really grow. Now, there are tremendous consequences to young people not being able to find a job this early in life. It's a moment of peak productivity, and it sets them up for success later on. Even if they do spend the effort to get a degree, it still takes a long time to find something. And imagine this, there's a shelf life to every degree, right? The longer you delay finding a job, the worse off they become. It's not like they're waiting for 4 years to find a better job. It's their prospects continue to diminish over time. Now, fundamentally, the reason these businesses are failing is because they don't have the skills, networks, capital. There's not really a good reason that these businesses are failing. This is a solvable problem. These are barriers that can be overcome. At Ongoza, we provide an integrated solution to help take these early stage, high potential young entrepreneurs through a process that helps them double or triple the size of their businesses over the course of a year. Now, we have seen that you can't build a business with bits and pieces. You need an integrated solution that addresses all of the fundamental needs that businesses have. So we think about it in terms of tailored consulting services, a community of peers and market connections, and access to capital through debt, financing through Ongoza, or our network of investors. Together, what this does is it creates the next generation of small and medium enterprises, or SMEs, that are going to be the backbone of Kenya's growth and are going to provide employment opportunities for all of the other young people. So let me give you a quick example. Joe Muburi fell into business because, again, he didn't have a whole lot of opportunity after university. He studied IT, and afterwards he started looking at building websites and content for various companies, going back and forth here and there, and actually also running a safari tour company. He stumbled into filmmaking by accident and started to build it into a business. But when he came to us, he had a deep passion without a whole lot of direction. He was spread too thin. He was offering about 15 different products. He was chasing any contract, and he was going in all directions at the same time. When we helped him understand really what services people wanted and build a niche for his specific business and his specific types of content that he was good at, we have been able to quadruple the size of his business. How does this work? Just to give a little bit more context about the Ongoza Accelerator and the process that we go through. When an entrepreneur comes to us, and there's a pretty rigorous application process, they're assigned what we call a business development advisor, an in-house consultant with 5 to 10 years of finance or consulting background. So with that advisor, the entrepreneur undertakes a business diagnostic, then to understand the gaps and opportunities in their business. And they feed that into a prioritized growth plan. Now, this is the projects that we're going to work on with them over the course of the next year and how it aligns with the path for growth for their business. All these both are revised and reviewed quarterly in order to ensure that they're up to date and we're working on the things that are most pressing to the entrepreneur. After that, for 8 hours a month for the rest of the year, we provide one-on-one individualized consulting on those specific projects. We bring together our cohort and entire portfolio for workshops on needs that they all are facing. And we provide access to capital through a small debt fund that we have set up and through partners. Now, binding all of this together is really this notion of community and networks and business connections. It's monthly events, it's facilitated and bespoke connections, and it's creating at our offices more of a co-working space where entrepreneurs can come and learn from each other. It's worth noting that entrepreneurs pay for this service, and we'll talk about how this fits into our financials as we move forward. So I know there are other providers of business development services in the market, other players in the market across East Africa and in Kenya as well. But ultimately, Ongoza provides something that no one else does, which is the unique blend of all of these different opportunities, right? It's not just business courses, which rely on the fundamental assumption that business is easy and I can tell you everything you need to know within a month, right? Or within 3 months. That's unrealistic. It's not just financing where the entrepreneur is left to their own to figure out what to do with the money. And it's not just consulting, which is often too expensive for entrepreneurs at this level. But it also does not help if you don't have these other pieces of knowledge and community. So let me talk about some of the traction we've had so far. We've worked with over 100 businesses in Nairobi, Nakuru, Migori, and Bungoma. This is sort of central and western Kenya. I pointed out earlier on the slide that a lot of these services are concentrated in Nairobi. That's a problem because most of the young people and most of the jobs need to be created outside of Nairobi for Kenya to succeed. So we've broken that barrier. Our current portfolio is 60. We're on track to 80 by the end of the year, and we'll get to this 300 a year within 3 years. Businesses in the portfolio, like I said, double or triple in size, and they create over 100 new jobs annually. Now, this is not tracking the compounding effects of the businesses that have graduated and are continuing to grow, which is, of course, next on our agenda for us to track. So who are these people that I keep talking about? I gave you one example, but just let me tell a little bit more about who our target customer is. We're looking for three things. We're looking at the entrepreneur, which matters a tremendous amount, and their growth mindset, their grit, their vision, their passion, and their full-time commitment. And we're looking at the business and whether it's a scalable business. These are already post-revenue businesses earning around $20,000 to $40,000 a year. We're sector agnostic. In addition to the ones that you see here, professionalizing the food industry, delivering organic foods and catering. We've also worked with waste management companies. We've worked with agro-processing for spices, worked with energy production. To bring these entrepreneurs to us, let me talk a little bit about our 4 primary sales channels. First, we depend a lot on referrals and partnerships. We actually have over 20 pipeline partners. It's in the appendix of this presentation. We depend on social media and sort of general advertising. We host a number of community events that are actually also open to the public, so we bring in people. And we're testing a commission-based sales agent structure, which actually works really well outside of Nairobi, but isn't as effective within Nairobi itself. To bring us back to another case study, George studied agribusiness. This is his background, and he runs a tech-enabled vegetable distribution company. He started his business after university, again, because he didn't have another opportunity. So he started this with just $70. When he came to us just under a year ago, he'd already made progress, right? He was earning $500 per month, but he was a little bit stuck. He was handling everything, and the business was a little informal. I remember when George and I first met, our conversation kept getting interrupted every 5 minutes because he was on the phone with farmers, with vendors, with transporters, trying to get his produce to where it needed to be. So we put in place structures, including some of the tech that is making his business a little bit more efficient, and helped him gain access to some financing and helped him figure out some operational efficiencies and what he needed to be doing. And over the year, his business has quadrupled. Last month, he actually just got it's sort of a tuk-tuk for those that have spent any time in East Africa, but it's a 3-wheeled motorbike with a giant sort of pickup pickup style cargo bed to increase his transportation ability in-house, and another working capital loan of around $1,000. So I actually expect his monthly revenue to continue rising substantively to hit around 4,000, 5,000 in the next 4 to 6 months. So I know I'm sharing a little bit about George and have talked about Joe and some of the other entrepreneurs, but they're just a few of many, right? We've been steadily growing the number of entrepreneurs we work with. We started the year with 40 entrepreneurs. We'll end it with 80 entrepreneurs in the portfolio. And we have an ambitious growth plan across Kenya, right? Aiming at 300 entrepreneurs per year within 3 years by the end of 2021. Again, we'll focus at the start in Nairobi and Nakuru, where we currently are. And as we grow, we'll test new locations along the coast and in Western Kenya, second-tier cities where there's quite a lot of commerce and opportunity to grow. We'll also, I showed earlier that there are 7.3 million micro, small, and medium enterprises. I didn't mention that 90% are informal and household level. So as we look at the market in Kenya, we estimate that our serviceable available market is 500,000 businesses within our range in Kenya, and 20,000 of those within our current locations, or the locations that we anticipate growing into. So how are we going to get there? I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking through this sort of our growth strategy, but just summarize it to show you that we've been thinking about what we need to do in different stages. First, we're really going to focus on product and systems before we truly grow. And in 2020, we're going to test one new location outside of Nairobi. And then we're going to start looking at sector-specific opportunities and start shifting our service to also extend to providing technical assistance to other nonprofits or financial institutions that are working with entrepreneurs. In 2021, we will scale to an additional 2 locations, so it'll be 5 total across Kenya, the 5 that are shown here tentatively, although that will be reviewed as we go. And we will continue to provide technical assistance to larger NGOs because we think that there is a massive opportunity there, both in earned income and as a mechanism to achieve greater scale than just our own delivery. So let me talk a little bit about our financials. I'm going to lay them out here. The primary cost here is that is increasing is the programmatic cost, and really that amounts to increased business advisors as we start to hold a larger portfolio of entrepreneurs. In our current model, each business advisor has a portfolio of 10 to 12 entrepreneurs that they are working with at any given time, again, providing 8 hours a month of service to. So growing the organization and growing our work in the portfolio means bringing in additional business advisors. Again, the profile is a generalist business background, 5+ years of experience in management consulting, finance, or actually agribusiness development as well. At the moment, the unit cost is $6,000, $6,250 per entrepreneur, but this will reduce over time. We estimate that in 3 years with our current model, we'll be at $4,500 per entrepreneur per year. The break-even point on this return in terms of a social investment is 12 to 18 months at present. We anticipate that shortening over time. And what do I mean by that? That's the point at which the increase in their revenue outweighs the amount of money that we have put in. I'm happy to talk a little bit more about this as we go, but we're also looking for ways to drive down these costs. We are shifting significantly more into a social enterprise model. We used to not charge a fee for our service. It started last year at $10 a month. This year, we raised it to $50 a month, and we're going to likely continue to raise it, as well as look for contracting opportunities, as I mentioned, to support other institutions in delivering their own business development services for entrepreneurs. So what we're looking at in terms of the next 3 years is we need 2.5 million total. And it'll be split into 3 priorities, which, as you can reflect, mirror the same priorities that are the building blocks of our service, right? So it's this business development consulting support. We're going to build a business basics short course to attach onto the beginning of our service as a filtering and pipeline building mechanism, and continue to expand our portfolio. We're going to build the ecosystem around our entrepreneurs and the community. That's community events, workshops, and associations outside of Nairobi, which really aren't there and do not exist yet. And we're going to be thinking a lot about capital. We started a pilot debt fund, loan fund in-house right now with just $15,000 in it, but we anticipate growing that over time, as well as hosting more investor forums and facilitating the introductions that we need in order for these entrepreneurs to get to the next level. So as I mentioned before, we just started charging a fee-for-service model. Right now, it covers about 8% of costs, but we're targeting 25% within the next 3 years. Our model may find more efficiencies as we grow in order to increase that over time. So just a little bit about the team behind this. Myself, I'm not a Kenyan, but the team is a Kenyan team. We have 13 people. We'll have 18 by the end of the year. Of those 13, just 2 are expats. And we have just a breadth of experience. Most of the folks on the team are former entrepreneurs themselves and have business education. The business advisory team has, again, 40 plus years of experience combined. And that's the team that will be growing over the course of the next couple of months. I'm hiring 3 new business development advisors by September. Our board as well is pretty diverse. It's half African, split between Kenya and Johannesburg and the US and Tokyo, actually. And together, it brings together a range of expertise that is really involved in the core of our operations. So we have 5 committees that meet on a monthly or quarterly basis, depending on the committee, plus quarterly board meetings. I'm on the phone with our board chair, Lisa Israf, at least once every 2 weeks, with some more frequent check-ins depending on the month. So it is an incredibly involved board. They actually just came to Kenya as a full global board for our first global board retreat less than a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. And are really excited about the growth and possibilities ahead. So take a step back now, and imagine a Kenya where those opportunities for young people did exist, where all of those avenues that you used to find a job were available for all other young people, where bright university grads were not left out of the economy and were able to really push ahead for their own success. Well, it takes entrepreneurs to build those businesses, and it takes Ongoza to build those entrepreneurs. So thanks a lot for taking the time again to chat with me, and I look forward to answering any questions that you have. Thank you.